Hello and welcome to another Salesforce and Trailhead tutorial with myself, Jonathan Fox. And today I'm going to be coming off the platform slightly and looking at Workbench. So Workbench is a tool that is accessible for us to interact with our Salesforce org from our web browser externally, testing things such as REST endpoints, using SOCL to query the Salesforce database, inserting records, uh, updating them, deleting them, also exporting our metadata and deploying metadata to an org. So what we're going to do is I'll head over to Workbench and just give a quick tutorial on how it all works. So we're in Workbench. All you have to do is search for Workbench, Salesforce Workbench in Google, or hit workbench.developerforce.com. You'll be asked to log in with your credentials. It'll take you to a Salesforce login screen, so you can use, if you have any password manager set up, you can log in quickly and easily. So you're presented with this screen. Straight away, we've got a pick list here, which allows us to see all the things that we can do, which are also presented up here in these drop-down menus. So let's have a look. First of all, info. Let's hit standard and custom objects. And here we can describe an object. And that might sound a bit more like a developer term, describing an object, but for yourself as an admin, it's still a really useful tool to use. Describing an object, if you click account, we can see that we have attributes, relationships, fields, record types, and supported scopes. And we can see there's a nice legend over here as well, which helps us understand what each one is as well. So if we go into attributes, we can see activatable, false, compact, layoutable, true. And that's because you can create a compact layout for an account. Creatable, true. Custom, false. Well, it's not a custom object, it's a standard object. So these are all things that might be useful to you to understand or even know if you just quickly want to search. You might be working on a client's org and they're talking about something and you can't remember whether it was a custom object that they've named to be really similar to a standard object, or is it a standard object that they've renamed. So you can have a look here because we've got label. Key prefix, always useful to know. All account record IDs start with 001. So this is a really useful little bit of detail. We can also see here that we can have a look at child relationships. So we can see what is related to the account. So we can see that contact.account ID. You can see the contact is related to it. And we can also see what type of relationship. So cascade delete is true. Is it depreciated and hidden? False. Field type is the field is account ID. The relationship name is contacts. So there's a lot of information, really useful stuff to figure out and see. Let's have a look at fields. Here we can see that these are system fields because they're orange. That's a custom field because it's purple. And we can also see here the information about each field as well. If we head back here and we look at record types, we've only got master because I haven't got any record types on this object. And supported scopes, you can see for everything, mine and team. So that is your, for example, this would be your list. You can see your team's accounts, your accounts, all accounts. Head over to metadata types and components. Now, I'm not going to go through everything on here, just the ones that might be particularly useful for yourself. If we click App Menu, for example, here we can have a look at what components we have. We've got the Salesforce One, the App Switcher. We can see where it's stored, App Menus, and a little bit more information. So if you need to look into the XML name is App Menu. We head over to, let's have a look, which would be a good list views. If we head over list views, we can see that on account, we can have a look at the list views that are on the account, for example. So the metadata is very useful as well. Queries, now you've got SOCL, async SOCL, SOCL, and streaming. The most commonly used one is going to be SOCL, so I'll have a look at SOCL now with you. SOCL is Salesforce Objects Query Language. And for example, we're querying accounts here. Holding down Command if you're on a Mac or Control if you're on a Windows, you can select the fields that you want to search for within accounts. And as you can see, as I'm clicking, it is creating a SOQL query down here. Now, if you're au fait with SOQL, you can also write your own. This field, this box here, this text field is editable, so you can now write your own SOQL in there if you want. Hit query and you'll be getting a list of records that match your query in the Salesforce, in your Salesforce org. You can sort your results, you can filter them, which would add your where clause in. You can also, so if I just put, there we go, I've got where billing city is Doncaster. You can include or exclude those soft, deleted or archived records, and we can bulk CSV them, XML, we can even look at matrix. So this is really powerful. SOSL is, for those of you who know what SOSL is, it's the search language rather than the query language. So you might want to search for Dave in all fields. You don't know what object it is. If you hit search, what we'll get is it's a lead that I've got, and there's the record ID, and that lead contains Dave in one of the fields. Data, insert, update, obsert, delete, undelete, purge, they're all self-explanatory. However, what you can do from a file, so just like data loader, you can import a CSV file or an XML file here, and you can bulk upload a load of records, or if you just really want to quickly insert a record, create a record, if you hit the single one and click next, you'll be presented with all the fields that you can possibly fill in for that record. You can fill them in, click confirm insert, and you've just created, in this case, an account. Insert, inserting the accounts, updating them is as it says. Upsert is either inserting them or updating them, depending if it already exists. Delete is deleting them to the recycle bin, so it's a soft delete. Undelete would be recovering them from the recycle bin, and then purge is your hard delete, it permanently deletes them. Here we've got migration, so deploy and retrieve. If you want to push metadata to your org, you can use deploy, and if you want to pull some metadata from your org, you can use retrieve. Now, what you would receive is you would get a zip file containing all of the metadata from the org that you have specified that you want from your package XML. Now, a package XML can be easily created using the XML generator in VS Code. Likewise, you'd need one for deploying. You contain it, you tick which bits you want, whether or not you're running a test, choosing your file, and that would be your zip file. And then finally, we're going to quickly have a look at REST Explorer and password management. However, you can see that there are metadata, API process status, which you can go and check and see the results, as well as executing Apex, as you would from the developer console. REST Explorer gives you access to have a look. So if I click execute here, I have all of the APIs that I have access to here. This is your version number for your API. We can have a look at the metadata API, for example. However, what I'm going to have a look at is the S objects. And if I hit execute on that, I get to see my S objects. However, what I can also do is if I /account and hit execute, what I can now see is I've got my object describe, as we saw over in the info, and we've got any recent items if I've looked at any. Here I can also / and append a query onto the end, meaning that I can query the org for a specific account. Or, if you've noticed up here already, I can post, so I could create one. For example, it would be name, name, colons, and then my name in there. And I could post that using this REST API web service, and then I would then have an account called whatever, specifying the correct fields. Obviously, if you don't have the required fields filled in, then it's not going to be able to do it, but you have the option here to do so. You can put, patch, delete, and head. which gives you all the options that you could possibly need when you're playing around with your APIs. Finally, password management is a really cool one to have a look at. As long as you have the user ID, you can set the password to a specific password and you know what it is for that user ID, or if you just have the user ID, you can click reset. So I hope that whistle-stop tour of Workbench and some of the functionalities you have in Workbench was useful. I know personally Workbench was really useful for REST Explorer when I was practicing around my integrations in some of my other videos, as well as for projects that I work on. It's just to help make sure that what you're doing actually works. Especially when you want to quickly search something within the Salesforce org, amend something, or even simply reset a password. It's really simple and easy to use once you get the hang of it. Until next time, thank you very much. This was Jonathan Fox with your Salesforce tutorials. If you can give a like, comment, or subscribe, that is really appreciated. However, please do some feedback. It's always beneficial. Until next time, bye-bye.